Hello, everybody. We are here today on a new segment of Move the Way You Want, Just Move. And Rob and I were just talking off camera, and we were talking about, spring and summer's coming. Yay!
All
and
right.
and of course, the thoughts are coming about what is my body looking like, and I got to lose weight and all of this stuff. And so yeah, so we're going to talk about that today. And what I was and maybe we'll talk about that a little later on also throughout the next few episodes. This might be like a loaded topic. uh, just saying. um, so one thing that showed up for me, like I really yeah, I want to talk about moving, um and I want to talk about weight loss. And then I have this a lot of thinking around weight loss. Obviously, I've thought about weight loss a lot in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Still doing it. um and like the thing that I saw was yesterday, I was kind of like shopping. I was like, oh, I feel like having nice this nice top. I feel like having a nice sexy top and all of this. And then I was looking at the tops, and then I was looking at my body, and I was like, yeah, the top looks good on that girl, but it's never going to look good on me. And now I have to lose weight in order to be able to fit on the top, in the top, and look good. So what I'd like to hear your take on is like this is how I feel. I feel like if I start, wanting to lose weight because I want to look good, I feel like I'm never going to make it. Just because, when I was 16, I wanted to lose weight because I wanted to look good. And, at 30, I found pictures of me when I was 16, and I was like, holy cow, that was a hottie, man. I was like so cool, cute. And then when I was 50, I was looking at pictures of me when I was 32, and I was like, oh man, that was a good looking girl. And so I'm never happy about it. Right. So so like, I just kind of like, I don't want to, start the conversation about losing weight to look good.
Yeah.
Like, like, yeah. So here I am, and I'm shutting up now because the rest is just
No,
a lot of thinking.
I love what you were saying because it's how a lot of people look at weight loss. I really don't talk about weight loss much anymore though,
Mhm.
just because of what I felt the space it provided for my clients or for people I was working with on it. And and that was again like everything else. There's something wrong. I got to change. I got to do something different. And it's backwards. It's perceived as going backwards. Negative means I got to reduce that at some point I was better and now I got out of shape or I gained this much weight, so I'm falling apart. Now I got to go back because I'm broken or whatever. And and that was when I really paid attention to numbers. But now that I'm more concerned about the quality of your body composition overall, I don't really worry about weight loss as I will get clients to buy into gaining more muscle. By gaining more muscle, you're going to lose fat mass, right? Because a lot of times when I get a person to gaining more muscle, their body shapes and tone, where the number on the scale may not go down, but their clothes are falling off their bodies, or they shape or appear significantly different, even though the number is still the same, but the quantity, the fat-free mass and the fat mass has completely changed. So I love the conversation. What you started with is before we do any movement or before we get into anything like this, the space we come from is very important. Most of the time, we'll use the term weight loss because we're there with it. Most of the time, weight loss is a a load of thinking, a mode of thinking that's attached to some other things that just aren't going well. Or it could be attached to a health scare or risk. I'm doing a presentation, putting a presentation together where I'm looking at the amount of people that preventable diseases affect in the United States of America. And I was talking to somebody about it. And it was like, oh, well, those aren't really bad numbers. I was like, it's preventable diseases. So any number, one is bad because it's preventable. That's like saying, oh, well, all those people died from preventable gunshot wounds. Well, wait, why didn't we prevent the gunshot wounds then? Why didn't we just stop that then? So they didn't have to die. So, so I love that about the space, because it's very important on how you start this journey and not believing it's linear, right? Your life got to a point where you didn't move as much. And in that lack of movement, your calorie intake probably increased and you held on to more fat. Okay, now let's get you moving where you don't hold on to as much.
Even your calorie intake didn't even need to increase.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. The lack of movement is where this takes place. And I use calorie intake because that's where I like to start people. If you haven't moved in a while, then I'll start people on just doing something different in how they eat and making small adjustments throughout their life. Because it's like a car that's been under the tarp for a couple years, right? You go out there, you can't just crank that car up if it's been off for a couple years and take off driving. There's some dry rot on the tires. There are some webs in the engine. You might even need to flush the fluids. But once you do a few of those things, the car kind of gets back into a rhythm and hits the highway and purrs like it always did, just like the body will. Start adjusting, increasing your hydration, removing certain foods from, little by little as best you can, doing a little bit, standing up a little bit more through the day, walking more, so taking some of those conveniences away, just to prepare the space, the mind, at how you are going to approach building more lean muscle mass rather than losing weight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting because, I've been working, and one of the things that I've been doing is taking these segments that we do and taking them out of the whole episode and making them just a segment to put them on YouTube. And I was re-listening to a segment that we did, and it's funny because like in there you were just like, well, it's just about any movement works. Like, that's what you had said to me. Any movement works. And one thing that I started to see, it's all about observing what you do. In my opinion, it's like,
I like
if you can freaking just look at what is it that you're doing right now, and then take away the emotion, take away all of the negative thinking that you have about it, and just seeing truly what you're doing, then it's gonna make a difference, right? And after I re-listened, because I actually recorded it and then I re-listened, and it's so funny, right? Like, we can do something, be present, but not be present. And I know that in these conversations I get in my head, as you're talking, I'm like there's just so much shit. So I was re-listening, and I noticed that when I wake up in the morning, I get up and my body feels pretty good. And I get up and I go do my things, and I'm just doing my things. And then all of a sudden I go and sit down. And I sit down on my sofa, and then I just veg there for a little bit, which is something that I love to do, right? I love vegging. I'm a veg. I've got the vegging art, to a T. But the other day I was like, well, I don't have to sit down to look at my phone notification. So it just started just sitting up, and I was just like swaying, and I was just like, I could almost hear your voice in my head going, any movement counts. And I was just like, Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I could broom here. There's like some sweeping to do here. And
Yeah.
I didn't sit down right away. And I was just like, it was a baby step, but I was so proud of myself
Oh, I
for
love that.
having just noticed.
Yeah. That's the you I don't know if it ever happened to you, but a lot of my clients, I'll say something like, just walk for me for about 5 or 10 minutes. And they're like, that's it? Oh, okay, okay. And we'll come back and I'll be like, hey, did you give me my 5 or 10 minutes? They're just like, yeah, but I went like an hour. Yeah, but I went like 30 minutes. Yeah, I went about 45 minutes. So yeah, I went for 2 hours. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. They was like, oh, you gonna give me longer next time? I'm like, no, because next time you won't do it. It was me saying start 5 or 10 that got you going because that seemed obtainable to you. I knew you were going to go over. That's how the body is designed. Once you start moving, it's going to look for more ways to move. So when you stood up and didn't just go to vegging out, your body was like, hey, I like this movement shit. Let's
Yeah,
broom. I don't
yeah,
even know if you like brooming or not, but you thought to do it. Like it's a
yeah, yeah,
movement, right? You
yeah.
just that's how it works. It's so funny. I was just saying this last weekend. I got it from listening to the way Michael was talking about coaching, but healthy living is an art. There's science to losing weight, right? There is a formula, an equation, a mathematical, whatever you want. There's science to it. But if it was that easy, everybody would have it. So it's got to be something on this side with the thinking and the art and the way your life works for it and the way it fits for
Mhm.
you that is up for exploration. Um, because it's also most of the science that we have are based off professional athletes. That's who we use to make the metric. Professional athletes, people who get paid to either run
Yeah.
into each other at high space collision, play a sport, do a weight lift. Like that's who we measure it off. That's who we look at. It's so funny we don't look at doctors and go, I want to be shaped just like that doctor right there. Right? Like, oh
Well,
my
some
God.
doctors aren't shaped very well either.
Exactly. But that's my point though. Oh,
Yeah,
that dentist is perfectly shaped. That's the body I want. That dentist right there.
yeah,
Nope. We go to the professional athletes,
yeah, yeah.
the fitness models who it's just
Who
hilarious.
put in more than 10,000 hours at just doing this? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we're going to leave you with that. We're just going to leave you today. This is what we're going to leave you with. I mean, I know we've talked about it in a prior episode, but just look at yourself. Truly look at yourself. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And don't think about your calories. Don't think of what you're eating. Don't think about doing gazillion exercises. Just look right now at what you're doing and
Mhm.
see, what kind of movement you could just add.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. Look at your space and see what it can hold. I love it. Look at
Fantastic.
your space and see what it can hold. And if it only can hold 5, 10 minute walks, let that space hold it then.
Yeah.
But don't try to the space is only equipped for 5 or 10 minutes right now because it hasn't been something you've done and you're trying to fit 3 hour workouts in it. That doesn't work. So just look at your space, like you said.
Yeah.
Look at your space, see what it can hold, and then come back for another episode so we can help you feel it.
All right, guys. Thank you, Rob. We're gonna continue this conversation in the next episode. All right. Take care.